Welcome to Dairy just ended, and it's like, what do I do in my life? And it's brought me back to here, which is It, Chapter 2 movie review. Funny thing enough is I saw this film one time in 2019 and never looked back. By look back, I mean I never saw it after that, and the plastic was still sealed on this. So like when I finally saw it today, it felt like a relatively new film, and I liked it. I liked it more than the original. But as crazy as it sounds, I did see the original It. By It, I mean like the one that came out in 2017. I'm not talking about the older one. I did see that one growing up, and that film did traumatize me. And that one like actually scared me as a kid because it's like the way that the clown behaved and stuff like that. It was very unnerving. But the modern It films, they don't scare me, but it's a very interesting because in contrast to the Welcome to Derry show, I will say Pennywise has a lot more personality. In the film, he's a looming threat, but he doesn't really have that many quick wits and stuff like that. Like he's there, but he doesn't overstay his welcome. You've seen it here and there, but he does like I have like a few moments very early on. And what I appreciate about this film is it does some things that I talk about within all my recent reviews. It makes you care about the characters before something tragic or horrible happens to them. And this film, even better than the first one. Like the first one, I felt like it was on the nose of like, okay, this could possibly be what happened. Then you can use your like your intuition of what it could be, and then this one reveals all of that in the second film. And so I think the metaphor that could be used for the It, at least in chapter 2, is the confrontation of your childhood trauma, and what do you do with that? Like, will you let that dictate your future? And I'm seeing like with all of the loser kids, there are ways in which it showed up. Like, yes, they're not the same kids that they were, the same sense of like powerlessness, but it did affect them long term and in their lives and what they end up doing or the relationships that they formed therein. And I think that was very interesting. Like Mike stayed behind, Stanley did his thing, Beverly also still experiencing some form of abuse. Ben having confidence issues because of like being a bigger boy when he was younger, and they all come together to combat Pennywise or It when it does return. Now the film is self-aware because it does comment on the ending. That doesn't make it good. This ending is similar to an M. Night Shyamalan film. Like M. Night Shyamalan is a hit or miss. Like for every hit he has 5 misses. And this ending in particular is a miss. I don't give a damn if it's book accurate. It just doesn't fit because I'm watching this having seen Welcome to Derry, and the way that Pennywise is solved, or like, cause like in every horror film, like they're always like that ending point of like, okay, we gotta combat the villain, and how do we get rid of him? It's very underwhelming. It's very underwhelming. It's disappointing. And when I look at the reviews, at least the bad reviews, all of them comment on that ending, and it makes you think that like, oh, I can beat Pennywise. I can do this. I can do that. I wish that the films, at least chapter 1 and chapter 2, as great as they are, that they would have hinted at some other powers, and that they would have hinted at the Shine, because without the context of the Shine, people think as long as you're not afraid of Pennywise, that you can take him on, and that's not the case. And I blame these films for doing that, right? But who would have known, like the due diligence? But maybe in the context of these films, that's how he operates. There's even times within part 1 and part 2, or specifically in part 1, where he smells Beverly and he's like, not enough fear. Like it's too on the nose. It's as if the audience is very ignorant and they don't know what's going on. But I think there's ways of being subtle about it, while also addressing like, hey, that there's extra powers that be, or maybe in this interpretation of the films that they wanted to be like, okay, he's fear-based, right? The only thing I can equate it to is One Piece in hockey. Like when he initially started doing like the arcs and stuff like that, everything was based off like powers based in this story. Like everybody had these special abilities. And then later they had this thing called hockey, and hockey trumped these superpower abilities. But then you think in the earlier films, why were there no mentions of hockey? The same thing with the It franchise is like there's shine and there's the abilities and stuff like that, but you get no mention of it until a little bit later. They do hint at Native Americans in this film, which surprised me because I completely forgot about it. And it also uses the same footage in the Welcome to Derry series, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, it is a good film. I do like it more than the first. Although I will say I have seen the first film more than this one. This is my second viewing of it, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed. I do wish that we had more Pennywise, but I also appreciate that everybody had their own personal journey. When Mike told people within the context of the film so that they had to go back and find their own personal artifact, and then everybody had their individual journey, it made me get more about the character, and I love that it had the overlap between their past and the present, and it's like everybody had a moment. This can easily be translated into some type of video game, the way that it was structured and formatted, and the runtime is justified. It didn't feel like a lengthy film at all because like every minute wasn't wasted. Every minute had purpose, if that makes sense. And even if I were to like say like there's a extended cut, because I believe Andy said that there's a 6-hour cut that includes this film and in the first film, that I wanted to know more about how their adult lives were on day to day. It did a very good job of telling a narrative of, I want to say, 6 or 7 people. Yeah, it's very rewarding. But knowing what I know now, I do want more. I do want more, and I wish that it is founded on that within the Lord. But for what it did give us, I am appreciative of it. But it does shows that he's very limited, at least Pennywise, at least it is very limited within the context of the films compared to Welcome to Derry, where he has different abilities and different weaknesses that trump what this thing was. Because this one was like more of spoiler, pre-warning spoiler, humiliation and making him feel small, and that was the thing that did it. But without further ado, that concludes my review. Have you seen It Chapter 2 in the eve of Welcome to Derry ending? What are your thoughts? Comment down below. And of course, as always, raritos are on me. Ciao.